Okay, let's resume. Now, yesterday also we people had resumed with company audit only. I told you it's a big chapter, it will go on and on. Probably a couple of lectures more to finish it. Now, we started with nothing but disqualifications and we resumed with, I think, disqualification E. If you people have a look at E, it is any person or the firm who has a business relationship with the company. Now, when I say business relationship, what do you mean by business relationship? It is any transaction which is entered into for commercial purpose. What do you mean by commercial purpose? Money purpose. So, if at all the auditor and the client they have entered into transaction for money, exchange of money, then we say that auditor is disqualified. But definitely there will be exchange of money. It is because obviously auditor will do audit, he will not do free, he will charge money. So there is a business relationship. So for that, should he be disqualified? No. So there are exceptions. One, transaction in the ordinary course of business. And secondly, transactions which are at arm's length price. What do you mean by arm's length price? Fair value. If you remember, yesterday I had given an example of that rent. You remember? Ultimately, the auditor want to take the premises on rent. So eventually, I hope he told to the broker to show some premises. He liked one premises. Rent was 50,000 per month, but that premises belonged to X Limited. Now use common sense. If the rent is fair value 50,000 per month, I am paying 50,000. Do you have a problem? No. Then should I be qualified? Yes. But if I tell you 50,000 is fair value, but auditor is only paying 10,000, then do you have a problem? Yes. Because then it is at fair value or not at fair value? Not at fair value. Correct. So ultimately, then it is at arm's length or no arm's length? No arm's length. And if it is not at arm's length, then you are disqualified. Acha, what if the question is silent? What if the question only tells you have taken on rent 50,000? Then what do you do? Correct. They have not told arm's length or not arm's length. Then we have both the alternatives. If 50,000 is assumed to be the arm's length price or fair value, then the auditor is qualified. If 50,000 is assumed to be not at fair value, then the auditor is disqualified. Next, any person whose relative is a director or a KMP. What is KMP? Key management personnel. What do you mean by key management personnel? Very important person of the company. Basically includes the top level management, which is chairman, MD, CEO, CFO. They are also known as TCWG. What is TCWG? Those charged with governance. Thereafter, any person who is in full-time employment elsewhere or whose limits are over. This though you should never forget, because the limits we had learnt in nothing but 141 3G only. Okay. Thereafter, any person who is convicted by the court of committing any fraud is disqualified for 10 years. Acha, 10 years from the date of accusation, no? Then from the date of conviction, correct. Is there a difference between accusation and conviction? There is, correct. You are talking here about conviction. You are not talking about accusation, correct. Thereafter, any person who is providing specialized services under section 144 is disqualified. Now, what was section 144? If you remember, 144 gave you how many services? 9 services. How do you remember 9? 1 plus 4 plus 4, correct. If you render any of those services, then you are disqualified. So let us revise that 144 first. Okay, come on. If you remember, I given you key also. Yeah, can I say this was section 144? Imandari. Come on, one by one. I, internal audit. M, management services. A, accounting and bookkeeping services. N, any other services as may be prescribed. Acha. D, design and implementation of financial information system. Correct. A, actuarial services. Thereafter are rendering of outsourced financial services. And I was correct. Twins. If you people remember, it was investment advisory and banking. All cool? Okay. After finishing that, I also told you about section 141.4. That was also important. If you people remember, yesterday I told you that auditor can be disqualified only at the time of appointment, no? No. Can he be disqualified after appointment also? Yes. It means if you attract any of the clauses which are given in section 141.3 after appointment, then also the auditor is disqualified. So you can not only be disqualified at the time of appointment, you can also be disqualified after appointment. All cool? All cool. Thereafter, we people had done appointment of an auditor. This also was important. It is covered by four broad sections, 6, 7, 1, 5. So 139.6, 139.7, 139.1, 139.5. If you remember 139.6, this was on first auditor. 7 is also on first auditor. This is on subsequent auditor, and this is also on subsequent auditor. The difference, this is for non-government, government, non-government, government. Okay. Thereafter, first auditors is what we had taken up. Section 139.6 and 139.7. First auditor, non-government, government. Acha, what about non-government? Appointed by the BOD within a period of 30 days from the date of incorporation or the date of registration. The meaning is one and the same. What if the BOD fails? Then the shareholders will appoint within next how many days? 90 days. Where? At an EGM. What is EGM? An appoint an auditor is extraordinary business or ordinary? Ordinary. But here it is urgent circumstances because auditor was not appointed. So it is an EGM. Acha, the term is lifetime? No. It is from the date of appointment till the conclusion of the first AGM. But that is only subject to disqualifications under section 141.3 and 141.4. What about the first auditor of a government company? Who will appoint? CAG. Correct. What is full form of CAG? Comptroller and Auditor General. Correct. So CAG of India will appoint within how many days? 60 days from the date of incorporation or the date of registration. Meaning is one and the same. If the CAG fails, then who will appoint? BOD. Within next how many days? 30 days. What if the BOD also failed? Then shareholders. Within next how many days? 60 days. Where? At EGM. The term is one and the same. Thereafter subsequent. What about a non-government company? Very simple. Appointed by the shareholders at an AGM. What is the term? The term is different. From the date of appointment till the conclusion of the sixth AGM. So in all you can say it is 5 years or 5 concluded AGMs. Because wherever he is appointed, that should be considered as the first AGM. So from that first AGM till his sixth AGM. So it is 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. So in all concluded 5 AGMs. But again that is subject to disqualifications. Thereafter, what about subsequent auditor government company appointed by CAG within a period of 180 days from the date of commencement of the financial year? What about the term? 6 years? 5 years? No, 1 year only. It is nothing but from the date of appointment only till the conclusion of the next AGM. But again, that is subject to disqualifications. All cool? All cool. Acha. Thereafter, documentation procedure in case of an appointment. We need to know this. Okay. Now, documentation procedure also is very simple. I hope right. Firstly, the company needs to submit form ADT1 to the ROC within 15 days from the date of appointment. By the way, what is this form ADT1 upon? Correct. It is regarding the appointment of an auditor. So whosoever is the auditor who has got appointed, that information you will have to give. You will have to give. Who will have to give? Company will have to give to the ROC. That ROC we have appointed so and so auditor, name of auditor, firm registration number, membership number. He is the auditor. Thereafter, auditor has to make a certain declaration to the company through a written statement. By the way, when will he do this? He will basically do this on or before, correct, the appointment. So whatever you are declaring, you cannot declare after you have been appointed. Na? So either you declare on the date of appointment or you declare before appointment. What will you declare? Very simple. Firstly, that you are qualified. Secondly, that you are not disqualified. I hope right, these are different things. Huh? Firstly, you should be CA plus COP. Second, you should not attract any disqualifications. Next, details of any pending cases against the auditor, if any. Next, consent or willingness. That is, you are doing the audit, you are only accepting. Okay. It means you are not doing under anybody's influence. So next is auditor's independence. So how many things are there? 5. All cool? All cool. Thereafter, we had one important section, which was section 139.8, which was on casual vacancy. When you talk about casual vacancy, what do you mean by casual vacancy? It is basically a situation where there is no auditor. Okay. So initially there was auditor, but now there is no auditor. Simple example. First auditor was there, but now he is disqualified. So no auditor. First auditor was there, but he died. So now there is no auditor. First auditor was there as a firm, but firm got dissolved. No auditor. So now first auditor was there, but he resigned. So now there is no auditor. So whenever there was an auditor, but now there is a situation where there is no auditor, then this situation where there is no auditor is known as casual vacancy. Now, if there is a vacancy, common sense, you will have to appoint a new auditor. who will appoint the new auditor will depend upon where the casual vacancy has taken place. It can either happen in a non-government company or it can happen in a government company. If it happens in a non-government company, you will have to check the reason. Correct. This is important. You'll have to check the reason. When I say you will have to check the reason, here are two reasons. One, either resignation or other than resignation. Acha, if it is resignation, then appointment will be made by the BOD. Within how many days? 30 days. But I hope, is it final appointment? No. If you people appreciate, this is like a provisional appointment. I hope, although the BOD have appointed within 30 days, but it is subject to approval by the shareholders within 3 months. Acha. On the other hand, if it is other than resignation, anything, death, insanity, insolvency, dissolution, disqualification, then what? Then directly BOD will appoint. Acha, your approval is required or not required? Not required. Correct. On the other hand, when you talk about government company, acha, government company, do we have to bifurcate resignation other than resignation? No. Let it be any reason. I hope his appointment will be made by the CAG. Within how many days? 30 days. Correct. And thereafter, if the CAG do not do, then the BOD. Within the next how many days? 30 days. And what about the term? The term is same for them. The term is from the date of appointment till the conclusion of the next AGM. But obviously that is subject to the disqualifications. Till here, all cool? Okay. We had one important note regarding this casual vacancy, especially regarding the point of resignation. Okay. Whenever there is a resignation, then as per section 140 subsection 2, within a period of 30 days, the auditor has to file a form. Which form? ADT3. And he has to submit this to three people. ADT3, no? So three people. Company, ROC, and CAG. Acha, CAG when? CAG will come only in case of which company? Government company. What about company and ROC? That is for both government and non-government. So supposing if I tell you I am auditor of a government company and I resigned, then I have to file this form where? To all the three. Correct. Company, ROC, and CAG. Now do you understand? Okay. But what if I don't do? Then I'm correct. I'm liable to pay penalty. Penalty which is not less than 50,000 or the remuneration of an auditor, whichever is less. But obviously which can extend to rupees 5 lakhs. This was given under section 140 subsection 3. Achha. And lastly, we had done the section on remuneration. This also is simple. Remuneration of an auditor obviously has to be decided. So doubt arises who will fix the remuneration. Depends upon which auditor, either the first auditor or the subsequent auditor. If you are fixing the remuneration of the first auditor, then it is fixed by the BOD. If you are doing that of the subsequent auditor, then it is as decided in the AGM. That is either the BOD or the shareholders. Shareholders are basically first given the right to nothing but fix. But if they are not interested, then BOD only will do on behalf of them. Thereafter, remuneration includes something and it excludes something. Now, what does it include? Two things: expenses and any facility. If you remember, I had given you example of nothing but say food expenses which you are incurring on audit. Similarly, any facility is basically boarding and lodging charges, which ultimately I hope are incurred when you go for outstation audit. And it excludes any remuneration which is for any other services. Other services? Correct. Other than audit. For a simple example, if you remember, I told client told me, Rahul, please file GST return. Please file nothing but income tax return. Please calculate GST liability. Use common sense. Then I am providing audit or other services. Other services. Will I do free? No. Will I charge money? Yes. Is it for audit? No. So will it come under remuneration of an auditor? No. So that amount does not come under remuneration of an auditor. So it is excluded. All cool? All cool. Come on, let's go ahead. Everything you will know. Let me finish. Come, right on next section. Right on section 139.2. Rotation of economic. Okay, now listen. Now, what do you mean by rotation of an auditor? The auditor will rotate? No, no. What do you mean by rotation? Change in an auditor. Correct. Now, first question. Is change of an auditor required? Yes. Can you tell me why? Correct. Because if it does not happen, then there will be no independence. Do you agree? How? So simple, yeah. If a particular auditor continues in the company for n number of years, can I say he can develop good relationships with the management? And if he develops good relationships with the management, then influencing the auditor becomes simpler for the management. And therefore, the fraud becomes simpler to happen. And therefore, eventually, you require the change in an auditor, which is known as rotation of an auditor. Is this okay? Okay. By the way, initially there was no rotation of an auditor. The rotation of an auditor has only come in the Companies Act 2013. When there was Companies Act 1956, there was no clause for rotation. It means I could remain an auditor in the same company for as long as I wish to. It means till the time that I remain or company remains, whichever is earlier. I could remain the auditor. But I hope realize that is not the case after Companies Act 2013. Because after that, obviously it's a Satyam fiasco. They came to know that eventually I hope realize the auditors also have to be changed for a simple reason that ultimately when the auditors become very accustomed to the management, then the fraud becomes very simple to perpetrate. All cool? All cool. Now, when I talk about rotation of an auditor, when will you rotate? You can continue for how long? That depends upon the type of auditor. You already know that there are two types of auditors. One is an individual, correct. Other is a firm, correct. When you talk about an individual, then you have to be rotated after a period of 5 years. Consecutive, huh? No breakage. So you can continue in a particular company for how many years? 5 years. Acha. After 5 years, can you be reappointed? No. Can I say then if you are again reappointed, then how the rotation will happen? So after a period of 5 years, this same auditor cannot be appointed as the auditor of the same company for next 5 years. Repeating, once the period of 5 years is over, you can continue for 5 years. Once the period of this 5 years is over, then the same auditor cannot be appointed as an auditor of the same company for next years. It means after 5 years, I will have to again take a gap of 5 years. Do you agree? This gap of 5 years, which I am telling, is known as cooling period. Which period? Cooling period. You will have to cool down. Cool down for how many years? 5 years. You are not going on break for 5 years. Huh? When I say cooling period is there for 5 years, it means you cannot become auditor in that same company for 5 years. So there has to be a cooling period. You understood what I told? Let me see. Say for a simple example, there is any company X Limited and say I am their auditor, Mr. R, Chartered Accountant. Am I qualified? Okay. Am I an individual? Yes. Think and answer. I can do audit of this company for how many years? 5 years. Perfect. Now, say after 5 years, I again want to be reappointed. Can I be reappointed? No. Then can I say I will have to again take a gap of 5 years? After that gap of 5 years, can I again come back? Yes. For another 5 years. It means I hope you realize I cannot continue for state as many years. I can just continue for state 5 years, then gap of 5, then again I can come 5, then again a gap of 5. Now do you understand? Okay. When you talk about a firm, it is double. It is 10 years, but not together. It is 10 years, two terms of consecutive 5 years. Repeating, when I say firm has to be rotated after a period of 10 years. When I say 10 years, it is two terms of 5 years each. See, here it was 5 years now. We tell that this is one term. So obviously the firm can continue for 10 years. When I say firm can continue for 10 years, so there it is not one term now. One term is 5 years. 10 years will be how much? 10 years will be two terms. So there it is two terms of consecutive 5 years. Important to understand, you can never appoint a firm for consecutive 10 years. Huh? You can basically appoint them only for 5 years. So first, supposing say you appointed a term for 5 years, the firm, Thereafter, again you reappoint them for another 5 years. That's okay. Then you can totality appoint them for 10 years. But you cannot directly say, I appointed them for 10 years. This is not allowed. So first appointment will only happen of 5 years. Then again the appointment will happen for another 5 years. And therefore totality 10 years. But directly can you appoint for 10 years? No. Acha. Now, once you have audited, the firm has audited for a period of 10 years, then the same firm cannot be reappointed in the same company for another period of 5 years. If you people appreciate, this again is nothing but your cooling period. So if you check, cooling period for both of them is same only, check 5 years. Just the rotation period is different. If you check the rotation period, here is 5 years, here it is 10 years. So individual has to be rotated after 5 years. Firm has to be rotated after 10 years. But I hope for both of them, correct. The cooling period is still the same. How many years? 5 years, 5 years. All cool? Let me see how much do you understand. Say there is any company X Limited. Say they appointed a firm ABC and Company, Chartered Accountants, auditor. Can you tell me that this firm can do audit of this company for total how many years? 10 years. Acha. So they directly appointed for 10 years. Is it okay? No. Correct. Say they appointed them for 5 years first. Is this okay first? Okay. Thereafter, say they again reappointed for next 5 years. Is this also okay? Okay. So total became how many years? 10 years. Now think and tell me, can they appoint for another 5 years? No. Now there has to be a gap of 5 years. After that gap of 5 years, can they again come for 5 years? Yes. Can they again be reappointed for next 5 years? Yes. Then can they come? No. Then again there has to be a gap of 5 years. Now do you understand? Okay. So basically when you talk about rotation provisions are simple. When you talk about an individual, he has to be rotated after 5 years. That is one term. When you talk about firm, they have to be rotated after 10 years, which is 2 terms of consecutive 5 years each. No firm can be appointed for 10 years straight. If you want to continue for 10 years, then you first you get appointed for 5, then again you get appointed for next 5. However, whether it is individual or whether it is firm, once their rotation period is over, then both of them cannot be appointed in the same company for next 5 years. This we people tell as cooling period. All cool? All cool. Acha, last 2 provisions to learn. Listen. Now, when you people, I know Baba, the firm only can't come. Somebody is asking, sir, after 5 years, supposing say A was engagement partner. Okay, for nothing but say 10 years. Now ultimately can B become engagement partner and firm can be appointed? No, have common sense, no? The firm only cannot come, no? Yeah. If you just change the engagement partner, how is that going to help you? Firm only can't come, na? A, B or C. Acha. Now, supposing if I tell you X Limited, ABC and Company, firm of chartered accountants. Say they are the auditors of X Limited. Okay. Think and tell me. They can continue for how many years? Correct. Totality 10 years. Correct. Say they did audit for 10 years. Do you have a problem? No. Acha. So can they be appointed for next 5 years? No. Correct. Can I say for next 5 years they are disqualified? Come on here. Okay. Say now there is another firm, AYZ and Company. This also is chartered accountants. Now, if you check properly, here the 3 partners are ABC. Here the 3 partners are AYZ. So can I say Mr. A, he is a common partner in the firms. Acha, can I be nothing but I hope is partner in more than one firms? Yes. See, even if you are partner in more than one firm, your maximum is going to remain 20 only, considering all the firms put together. Now do you understand? So basically, I hope I realize. Now I tell you that Mr. A is nothing but the common partner. Think and answer. Huh? Can I say ABC and Company, they are disqualified for 5 years? Then this AYZ and Company, can they become auditors of X Limited? Think. AYZ and Company, Mr. A is the engagement partner. Forget engagement, he is the common partner only there. Can they become auditors there? No. Why no? Reason is very simple. Why you are not appointing them as auditors for next 5 years? Because you think influencing will happen, because eventually they are same auditors. Now obviously one of the auditor is here also, eventually influencing can happen here also, no? What if ultimately Mr. A is only the engagement partner of X? Then obviously there is no change in auditor at all. Even if previously Mr. B was engagement partner, assume, and now when this is the firm, say A is engagement partner, but eventually I hope realize X Limited knows Mr. A also. Then use common sense. If there is a common partner, then this firm, can they also do audit of that company? No. And therefore this firm is also disqualified for a period of 5 years. Acha, is it necessary there can only be one common partner? No. Can there be more than one common partners also? Yes. For a simple example, this can be like this also. Say this is ABZN company. Then there are two common partners. Then obviously this firm is not allowed. Obviously, three common partners cannot come, no? ABC, ABC, mad. All cool? All cool. Wait, first you have to tell me entirely. When I talk about rotation, can you tell me, see, whatever are your doubts, you people please ask me later on, no? When there is doubt session. Don't tell me in between the explanation. I'll not be able to solve, because I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on explanation, especially early in the morning if it is 7:30. Now focus. What was I saying? Yeah. When you talk about rotation, I hope that depends upon individual or the firm. If the auditor is an individual, then you have to be rotated after a period of 5 years. Thereafter, ultimately, you cannot be appointed as an auditor in the same company for another period of 5 years. This 5 years, we people construe as which period? Cooling period. On the other hand, many people talk about nothing but a firm. There, the period is double, which is 10 years. However, nobody can get appointed for straight 10 years. You have to get appointed for first 5 and then the next 5. However, once that term is also over of 10 years, then you cannot be appointed in that same company for next 5 years. So the cooling period for both the auditors is the same, just the rotation periods are different. Thereafter, I told you that if at all there is one firm, they were auditing a certain company, and if this firm's rotation period is over, okay, 10 years, then obviously they cannot be appointed in the same company for 5 years. So they are disqualified. Now, if there is another firm, but there is a common partner in that other firm, then that other firm is also disqualified from being appointed for 5 years. Why? Because if influencing could have happened here, influencing can easily happen here also. And therefore, if there is any common partner or common partners, then that other firm in which there is the common partner or common partners are also disqualified. All cool? All cool. Lastly, when I say rotation, this is not applicable to all the companies. Then we have to understand what is the applicability. I'll tell you. Rotation is basically applicable to three companies: listed, unlisted public companies, and private. Repeating, rotation is applicable to basically three companies: listed companies, unlisted public companies, and private companies. When you talk about listed, there is no condition, straight away compulsory. But when you talk about unlisted and private, it is conditional. How many conditions are there? Two each. Both the conditions have paid up share capital, outstanding loans, outstanding loans. What do you mean by outstanding loans? Loans which are paid or unpaid? Unpaid. Acha, and when I say loans, I hope realize I'm talking about loans or borrowings, means the one and the same only. Now, ultimately, I hope realize here, it should not be less than 10 crores. It should not be less than 50 crores, not be less than 50 crores, not be less than 50 crores. Important also to understand is you have to satisfy any one condition. So these are not and conditions, these are or conditions. So out of the two, even if you satisfy any one, can I say rotation will be applicable? And when rotation becomes applicable, you will have to keep on changing as per the provisions of 139. So what is the applicability? Applicability is very simple. Rotation applies to basically three companies: listed, unlisted, and private. When you talk about listed, it is straight away compulsory. There is no conditions at all. But when you talk about unlisted and private, there are conditions. What is the conditions? For unlisted public company, the paid up share capital should not be less than 10 crores, or outstanding loans or borrowings from any banks or financial institutions should not be less than 50 crores. Acha, you have to satisfy both or anyone? Anyone. Private, same. The only amounts are 50 and 50. All cool? Acha, how to remember this, There is a nonsensical way basically to remember this. See, it is listed, unlisted and private. Listed, though, it is compulsory. Only problem that you have to remember is of unlisted and private. Basically, I hope realize. See the condition na. Push clone, 10, 50, 50, 50. What? What? You have only problems in unlisted and private, no? So how do you remember the conditions? Very simple. You sing push clone, 10, 50, 50, 50. See, 10, 50, 50, 50. So what are the conditions? Push clone, 10, 50, 50, 50. Come on, tell me the applicability. Three, no? Acha, first is listed, that is compulsory. Then is unlisted and private. What are the conditions? Correct. Push clone, 10, 50, 50, 50. See, becomes simple. So ultimately 10 crores, 50 crores, 50 crores, 50 crores. By the way, this 50 crores which was there, no? This is amended number. Initially, it was not 50. Initially, this was 20 crores. Then amendment came. And as per amendment, it got amended to 50 crores. So initially, it was 10, 50, 20, 50. But now it has become simple for rhyming. 10, 50, 50, 50. All cools? All cools. Come on. Tell me the provision of rotation entirely. Come on. Rotation, change of an auditor. Acha. How much time? Depends. Depends on who the auditor is. Either individual or a firm. Individual, how much? 5 years. Firm, how much? 10 years. So you can definitely reappoint them for total 10 years, right? No. Can I say it is two terms of 5 years each? Acha. Thereafter, cooling period, 5 years. 5 years for both of them or only individual? Both of them. Cooling period is the same. Acha, thereafter, if one firm is disqualified because the term is over, then if there is a other firm and there is a common partner, that is qualified or disqualified? Disqualified, because there is a common partner. Is it necessary there will only be one partner in common? No. Can there be more than one partner also? Oh, yes. Thereafter, this is applicable to all the companies? No. It is applicable to certain companies. First is correct. I hope I realize listed, unlisted, private. Listed, how many conditions are there? No conditions are there. What about unlisted and private? How many conditions are there? Two conditions are there. How do you remember two conditions are there? Very simple. 139.2. Section is 139.2. No. Where did it go? Yeah. See, rotation. So two conditions are there. Acha. Which two? How will you remember? Push clone, 10, 50, 50, 50. Acha. Can I say amount should be greater than equal to? These are and conditions or conditions? Or conditions. So you'll have to satisfy both, no? No. You have to satisfy any one. One is satisfied, then it is applicable. All cools? All cools. Come. I want you to write this down. Company. Hmm. Come on, Dania. Hmm. What is this in answer? What is this dash 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 dash? Section 139.2 is on rotation is applicable to the following companies. Then following is all listed, unlisted, and private. So it is push clone 10, 50, 50, 50. Arey, yeah, take fast now. Come on, yeah, Dania. Come on, last 30 seconds, yeah. If you want, you just write down or here. Yeah, yeah. Supposing say to the company rotation is not applicable, then though you can continue in the company for n number of years. I hope price it can be 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, no problems at all. So only if rotation is applicable, obviously the change will come. If the rotation is not applicable, continue. No problems at all. Come on, you're all done. Acha. Just come to the textbook, we'll mark it rotation. 3.2. You will get this start. whether the same auditors can be reappointed after the expiry of their term is allowed. Check whether rotation is applicable. Obviously, if it is applicable, then we people see. If it is not applicable, he can definitely be reappointed for as long as he wants to get reappointed and the company wants to reappoint him. So if rotation is not applicable, then auditor can be reappointed until rotation becomes applicable. So you continue. But if it is applicable, then you'll have to check. Then auditor cannot be reappointed. Network firms is basically the firms of common partners. Okay. So auditor cannot be reappointed for 5 years after the expiry of their term is allowed. What is this 5 years that we are talking about? Correct. This is your cooling period. Thereafter, what is the term which is allowed to the auditors? Very simple. If it is proprietor, that is individual, then it is one term of 5 consecutive years. If it is a partnership firm, then it is 2 terms of consecutive 5 years each. That is 10 years. Come on, yeah, manageable. Okay. Just come to case studies. We have a few case studies on that. Let us take that up. Page number 313 for you. We have 1-to-1 appointment, and I think we have done case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is still left, right? Okay, we can do definitely 5. 6 also we can do today. 7 also we can do today. Thereafter 8 also we can do today. Come on, let's do question 5 then. Come. CA Poshin is providing the services of investment banking to C Limited. Later on, he was also offered the audit to be appointed as an auditor of the company for the current financial year. Advice. Can he do? No. Why? Yeah, so rude. Correct, because what he is doing is investment banking services. If you people remember, investment banking services is one of the services which is mentioned in section 144. As per section 144, if you people appreciate, investment banking services are not allowed to be rendered. So if you are rendering that services, can you become auditor? No. Acha, by the way, if you stop giving that services and then you want to become auditor, can you become? Yes. But you cannot do it simultaneously. Na? You cannot give those services and then become the auditor. So as per section 144, this is allowed or not allowed? Not allowed. So you are qualified or disqualified here? Disqualified. Come on, read. Come on, you're done. Okay. Question 5 then. The managing director of Pigeon Limited himself wants to appoint CA Champ, a practicing chartered accountant, as the first auditor of the company. Again, try to understand. Hello. Managing Director of Pigeon Limited himself wants to appoint CA Champ, a practicing chartered accountant, as the first auditor of the company. Now, some person told me CAG. I mean, that is so completely wrong only for a very simple reason that they have just told you auditor of a company. Have they told you which company? No. What did I tell you by default? Correct. Can I say by default it's a non-government company? Now think and answer. You are talking about which auditor? First auditor. Can I say first auditor of a non-government company? Do you agree? Think and answer. First auditor of a non-government company, who appoints? Correct. BOD. Within how many days? 30 days from the date of incorporation or registration. Do you agree? Here what is happening? Who is appointing this auditor? Managing director himself. Think and answer. Managing director himself, is he board of director? No. If you people appreciate, there'll be director, 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 director. Together there'll be board of directors. Now, say out of that, he is the managing director of the company. But think and answer, he himself is the board of directors? No. Can I say board of directors have to decide amongst themselves in majority who has to be appointed? So managing director alone, can he appoint? No. So how he is appointing here is correct or incorrect? Incorrect. See, somebody told me CAG. I mean, think no, yeah, that is so bad. How can you tell CAG without even knowing which company it is? I told you that whenever they give you company by default, it is which company? Non-government. You will lose marks like this only in exam for silly mistakes. Hence, I am telling you, be careful. Read, come on. Acha, which section will be applicable? Do you know? You're talking about appointment. It is 6715. You should mug up some things. When I say 6715, what is 6715? Can I say first auditor, subsequent auditor, non-government, government, non-government, government. So here you're talking first auditor of a non-government company, 139.6. Come on, read the answer. Dania. Okay. Have a look at 7. 7 is also nice. Rano Private Limited is a private limited company. Arey, you only told it's private limited. What again you are telling, mad? Rano Private Limited is a private limited company having paid up share capital of 18 crores, but having public borrowings from nationalized bank and financial institution of 72 crores. Is rotation of auditor applicable? See, they are talking about rotation applicability. Correct? Now, just a while back, what did I tell to you when I told about rotation applicability? I told you this. Rotation applies basically to 3 companies. Do you agree? It is listed, unlisted, and private. Correct. Now, think and tell me, in this question which we are doing now, it is which company? Can I say firstly, it is a private limited company. So, can I say we are talking about this part? Correct. Now in private limited, what is the conditions? Either push should be greater than equal to 50 or loan should be greater than equal to 50. Now check what is happening. Your push in this sum, if you check, is only 18. So is it greater than equal to 50? No. So is first condition satisfied? No. Acha, now so only second condition remains. Outstanding loans. Check. Outstanding loans, borrowings, what they have is 72 crores. My simple question, is that greater than 50? Yes. So is the second condition satisfied? Yes. So is your rotation applicable? Yes. Arey, but these conditions you have to satisfy both, no? No. Can I say these are all conditions? You have to satisfy any one. But I hope guys in this you have already satisfied. So obviously it is applicable. All cool? All cool. Come on, read it. How will you write this answer in the exam? You cannot write like this what they have given. In exam, basically, first you'll have to write like this. Wait. First, you'll have to tell, as per section 139.2 of the company, rotation is applicable to the following companies. Then you write this entire answer. Okay. Thereafter, obviously, here we are talking about private limited companies. So then you write down in the next paragraph. In the given case, Rano Private Limited is having paid up share capital 18 crores, but is having outstanding loans and borrowings from nationalized bank and financial institution of 72 crores. Therefore, since it is satisfying the condition with respect to outstanding loans and borrowings, rotation is applicable to Rano Private Limited. I hope you followed. Okay, come on. Next one. Jolly Polygon. Question 8. Jolly Limited, a listed company, appointed Messrs. Polly and Company, a chartered accountant firm, as the statutory auditor in its AGM held at the end of September 2016 for 11 years. So, Jolly has appointed Polly, a CA firm, for 11 years together. Is this okay? Can you appoint for 11 years? No. If you people also appreciate, it's a listed company. Since it's a listed company, rotation is applicable also. Do you agree? Since it is applicable, obviously, they have to change after 10 years. Agreed. But firm can be appointed only for, correct, 10 years, but 5 years consecutive, not straight away for, correct, 11 years. 11th anyways was not okay. 10 was also in fact not okay. Although that was allowed. So see, here the appointment of Messrs. Poly is not valid, as appointment can be made only for one term of consecutive 5 years, and then another one for consecutive more 5 years. It can't be appointed for two terms in one AGM only. Further, a cooling period of 5 years from the completion of the term is required. The firm can't be reappointed for further 5 years after the completion of two terms of consecutive 10 years. All cool? All cool. Come on. Thereafter, this we can't do. This is audit committee. 10 we have already done. This we can't do. This is Caro we can't do. This is Caro we can't do. 14 we have done. 15 we have done. 16 we'll do later. Okay, bus. Case studies only this much. Come back to normal notes. Again, we'll come back later once we come to those cases again. Just give the heading, then you can relax for 2 minutes. Write down. Yeah, we are doing branch audit. That also simple. 143.8. Just relax for 2-3 minutes. Chill. Come on, come back. Come back, yeah. Okay, listen. Now, section 143.8 basically deals with nothing but branch audit. Now, when I say branch audit, as the name suggests, it is an audit of branches. This is applicable only to those companies which have branches. Obviously, to those companies where there are no branches, branch audit is not applicable. So, for a simple example, if I tell you there is the company's head office and there is a branch. So, obviously, HO will maintain financial statements, branch will also maintain financial statements. So, you will have to do audit here also. You will have to do audit here also. So eventually, I hope guys you will have to do audit of the HO's FS also and audit of the branch FS also. The person who is doing audit here will be known as statutory auditor. Which auditor? Statutory auditor, which I already told to you. And the person who will be doing audit here will be known as branch auditor because he is auditing the branch. Is this much okay? Okay. So first things first. Branch audit is applicable only to the companies who have a branch. If there is no branch, I hope branch audit is not applicable. Acha, but once branch is there, no, irrespective of the turnover of the branch, the size or scale of the branch, audit has to be done. Means client cannot argue like this. Arey, that branch is not working only, sir. It's a loss making branch, sir. Very small branch, sir. Why to audit, sir? Not allowed. You have a branch, whether it is loss making, whether not working, whatever it may be, you will have to do audit. So once you have a branch, compulsorily audit has to be done. So there is no criteria, no condition which will tell you that branch audit should be done. The only condition is branch should be there. Acha. Now, what are we going to learn? We are basically going to learn three things. Firstly, what we are going to learn is nothing but the qualifications of the branch auditor. Next, appointment of the branch auditor. And lastly, the duty of the branch auditor. So one by one. Firstly, what we are going to learn is the qualification. By the way, if you people remember, previously also we have done qualification. If you remember, that was qualification under section 141. Hello. But that was qualification of the statutory auditor. Now we are not talking about qualification of statutory auditor. We are only focusing on branch audit. So now obviously we are talking about qualifications, but of the branch auditor. What is BA? Branch auditor. Now, what will be the qualification of the branch auditor? Depends. Depends upon where the branch is situated. Either the branch can be situated in India or it can be situated outside India. Perfect. Repeating. Either the branch can be situated in India or the branch can be situated outside India. Now, let us take an example. Listen carefully. Huh? Say for a simple example, company X Limited, head office and branch. Say branch is in India only. Say statutory auditor is Mr. R, chartered accountant. Think and tell me, qualified? Qualified. Now think and tell, what will be the qualification of the branch auditor? Obviously has to be CA only, no? Practicing. Think and tell me, am I qualified enough? Yes. So can I also become the branch auditor? Yes. So can Mr. R, chartered accountant, also become the branch auditor of the same company? Yes. See, it means what? Mr. R is the statutory auditor, no? So can I say the first qualification, if the branch is in India, is the statutory auditor himself? It means, can I appoint Mr. R himself? Yes. Can I appoint ABC and company itself? Yes. I hope you can do. It means statutory auditor, can he himself become the branch auditor? Yes. So the first qualification is the statutory auditor himself. But think and answer. Is it necessary that only Mr. R can be appointed as the auditor of the branch? No. Can you appoint someone else also? Yes. Can you tell me who that someone else should be? Correct. That someone else should be either an individual or a firm. Individual when he's a practicing CA. Firm when majority of the partners are practicing CA. Come on, yeah. It means what is the second qualification of the branch auditor? Correct. Either an individual or a firm, can I say, who is qualified as per section 141? Come on, yeah. So how many basic qualifications are there of the branch auditor? Two. Either you can appoint the statutory auditor himself. Obviously, statutory auditor is only qualified, no? Huh. So you can appoint the statutory auditor himself, but that is not compulsory. So if you don't want to appoint statutory auditor, then you appoint someone else. But then that someone else should be practicing CA, or that firm should have majority of the partners who are practicing CAs. In other words, individual or the firm qualification under section 141. All cool? All cool. But this is when it is in India. Now, what if I tell you it is outside India? Assume that ultimately the branch is there in the US. Now, if the branch is there in the US, think and tell me first. Can Mr. R, who is the statutory auditor, who is auditing the head office, can he go to the US and audit the branch? Yes. Why is the problem there? Why can't he go? I hope he is qualified, no, after all. So think and tell me, can I go? I can. So can I say first remains the same, stat auditor, no change. Acha. Similarly, think and answer. Is it necessary to send Mr. R? No. Can you send somebody else? Yes. That somebody else should be correct. Either an individual or the firm. So can I say second one is also the same? Now the problem is if both of them were same, why did I bifurcate? Both of them are not entirely the same. Now comes the main difference. Listen, where is the branch? Dumb. The branch is outside India. Now if the branch is outside India, use common sense. Can I say if the branch is in the US, then you obviously have to audit as per the laws of that land where the branch is. So now use common sense. I, Mr. R, have no knowledge of the laws of that land. So I will have to go there, I will have to refer that, and then I will have to see what they have done is correct or not. Similarly, say if you go, you are also a chartered accountant. Say you go, I am not going. Then you also will have to do the same thing which I would have done. No, only the name on the ticket will change. So you also will have to go there. You will have to refer what are the laws of that land, and according to that, whether the branch has followed or not. Then use common sense. Can I say it becomes expensive for the client to send ultimately person from India to outside India? Then what is the best option? Can you tell me? Correct. Appoint somebody there only. Arey, appoint auditor there only. No. It means appoint any person as an auditor there only, but who is qualified. But qualified not as per Indian laws. Qualified as per the laws of that land. In other words, qualified as per foreign laws. If I want to be very specific, the branch is there in the US. In the US, if you people appreciate, there is something known as CPA, Certified Public Accountant. What is CA in India is what is CPA in the US. So you appoint a certain, say Mr. Frank. You appoint a certain person who is a CPA. Say Mr. Frank is a CPA. So you appoint Mr. Frank there only, who is a CPA, who will audit nothing but the branch which is there in the US only. Now do you understand? So basically, I hope realize the qualifications of the branch auditor will depend upon where the branch is situated. Either the branch can be situated in India or it can be situated outside India. If it is in India, 2. If it is outside India, 3. In India, which 2? 1. Statutory auditor himself. Who is the statutory auditor? Statutory auditor is the auditor who is auditing the head office financial statements. Acha, is it necessary to appoint statutory auditor only? No. Can you appoint somebody else also? Yes. That somebody else, individual or the firm qualified as per 141. Acha, what if it is outside India? Then the first two remaining the same, but very costly for the company. So the other thing is you appoint somebody else there only where the branch is situated. So any other person who is qualified as per the laws of that land, or you can say foreign laws. All cool? All cool. Come on, next part. Next part that we people have to understand is what about the appointment of the branch auditor. See, be careful, huh? We are talking about branch auditor. We are not talking about statutory auditor. If you people appreciate statutory auditor, we have already seen appointment in the greatest detail possible. See? So when I say appointment of an auditor, obviously by default, it means statutory auditor only, no? Did I mention branch auditor anywhere? No. But here, am I talking about branch auditor? Yes. So now the doubt arises that who will appoint the branch auditors? Come on, anybody? Branch auditors are basically to be appointed by the shareholders at the AGM. However, the BOD also can appoint, but BOD can appoint only if there is a delegation of the shareholders. What? Telling again. Branch auditors are to be appointed by the shareholders. So the primary duty, primary responsibility, primary right to appoint the branch auditor lies with whom? Shareholders. Perfect. But what if the shareholders don't want to appoint? Then can I say they can delegate this power to the BOD? So ultimately, I hope that they'll pass a resolution that we, the shareholders, have collectively decided that the branch auditor will be appointed by the BOD on our behalf. So then can the BOD appoint? Yes. But can the BOD directly appoint? No. That direct appointment is not possible. Now do you understand the difference? So for a simple example, if there is a question telling like this, the branch auditor of the company was appointed by the BOD. Come on, tell me. This seems to be valid or invalid? Invalid. Can you tell me why invalid? It cannot be appointed by the BOD directly. I hope it has to be appointed by the shareholders. Here BOD can appoint, but only if there is delegation of the shareholders. Has the question told anything about delegation? No. Then you have to write the entire provision saying what? The appointment here in the given case is invalid. The appointment of the branch auditor has to be made by the shareholders. However, the BOD can appoint only if there is the delegation of the shareholders. All cool? All cool. Acha. And the last part which we need to know is what are the duties basically of the branch auditor. Now listen carefully. Duty is very simple, yeah. Nothing great. Acha. Who is auditing branch? Can I say branch auditor? Acha. Now assume like this. X Limited, HO, branch. Okay. Say I am the auditor of the HO. And say you people. Okay. Say Mr. S. Say you are the auditor of the branch. Okay. Now think and tell me. Yeah? Can you tell me that I am which auditor? Statutory auditor. You are which auditor? Branch auditor. Do you agree? Now, it is the duty of the branch auditor to submit the branch audit report to whom? To the statutory auditor, who will include that in the main company's audit report. Repeating again entirely. It is the duty of the branch auditor to submit the branch audit report. See, your duty is only to give the report with respect to branch, no? So you have to submit the branch audit report to whom? To the statutory auditor. You give it to me and I will include that report in the main company's audit report. Also, it is the duty of the statutory auditor to write in his audit report. This is the statutory auditor's audit report. He has to write whether he has received branch audit report from the branch auditor or not. Repeating, it is the statutory auditor's duty also to write in his auditor's report whether the branch auditor's report has been received from the branch auditor or not. Now do you understand? So two duties. One is the duty of the branch auditor. Second is the duty of the statutory auditor. What is the duty of the branch auditor? To submit the branch audit report to the statutory auditor, who will include that in the main company's audit report. Acha, what is the statutory auditor's duty? To write in his report whether he has received from the branch auditor branch audit report or not. Now do you understand? Wait, when will this happen? Dumb, when both of them are different. If you people appreciate, both of them can be same also, no? Can statutory auditor also become the branch auditor? Yes. So what if I tell you here also there is Mr. R only? Then in that case, I will give the report to myself. Huh? So branch auditor will give the report to the statutory auditor, who is myself only. So I'll stand in front of the mirror. Rahul, report. Thanks. You're welcome. Now go. Like this I'll do. No. Then use common sense. This is applicable only when both of them are same or different. Correct. When both of them are different. Acha, can they be the same? Oh yes, they can definitely be the same. All cool. Acha, all other provisions with respect to disqualifications, with respect to other rights and duties, with respect to penalties, this we already know, this we don't, we will know later, are the same for the branch auditor as they are for the statutory auditor. Repeating, all other provisions which are there with respect to disqualification, it means branch auditor also cannot be the employee of the company. He can also not be the officer, partner, employee of the officer or employee. He also cannot hold shares or securities. He also ultimately cannot be indebted for more than 5 lakhs. You are following? So whatever are the provisions which are applicable to the statutory auditor with respect to disqualifications are also the same provisions which are also applicable to the branch auditor. Acha, other provisions with respect to penalties also same. Other provisions with respect to rights and duties also same. Whatever is different is what we have discussed. See, three things are different: qualifications, then appointment, and thereafter duties. Come on, tell me. Qualification, fast. Qualification of the branch auditor depends on, correct, location of the branch. Either it can be in India or it can be outside India. If it is in India, 2. Statutory auditor himself can be appointed or any other person, that is the person of the firm as per 141. What about outside India? 3. First two remaining the same. Third one, any other person of the firm who is qualified as per which laws? Foreign laws. So it is better you appoint the person as per nothing but foreign laws or according to the laws of that land. What about appointment? Who will do appointment? Come on, fast. Appointment made by the shareholders. Correct. BOD also can do. They can. But there has to be delegation of the shareholders. What if there is no delegation? They have not delegated. Then the appointment is invalid. BOD directly cannot appoint. Achha. Thereafter, what about the duties? First, I told you the duty of the branch auditor, then the statutory auditor. What about the duties? Come on. First, the branch auditor's duty to submit the branch audit report to the statutory auditor, who will include in the main report. What is the statutory auditor's duty? Correct. To write in his report whether he has received from the branch auditor the branch audit report or not. But this will happen only when the statutory auditor and the branch auditor are different. If they are same, will this happen? No. Acha, what about disqualification provisions? Same. Penalty provisions? Same. Rights and duties other than this? Same. All cool? All cool. Now your branch audit is this. See, we are discussing three things: qualification, appointment, and duties. First, if the branch is situated in India, outside India. In India, statutory auditor; outside India, any other person of the firm qualified as per 141. Outside India, first two are same. Lastly, any other person qualified as per foreign laws. Thereafter, appointment for shareholders in a general meeting, BOD, what only delegated by the shareholders. Duties, branch audit report to statutory auditor, and statutory auditor in his report, he has received such report or not. Obviously, when both of them are different. All other things, that is disqualifications, rights, duties, penalties, all these provisions same for the branch auditor as they are for the statutory auditor. All cool? Come on, finish it.